We've all seen them, the clickbaity stuff at the start of podcasts that make you want to watch more. They'll enrage you. They'll make you feel emotional. They'll get you hooked in. But they don't have to just be clickbaity rubbishness. And to be honest with you, they often shouldn't be. So what should a hook be? How do you actually choose what it's going to be from the episode? That's what we're going to talk about right now. A great hook should promise something from the episode in the first maximum 60 seconds. You'll tease what the episode's about, but that teasing will also be a key thing of what the whole show is about too. So there's layers to what makes a great hook, not just clickbaity madness. So you don't have to choose the bit where you're disagreeing, the bit where someone is emotional. You'll often see hooks teasing a result, a revelation, some kind of specific answer someone's giving, but then the episode veers off into what it's actually about. And by the time people realize what's happening, they're like, oh, well, this is not what that hook promised at all. Then they're gone. They are not going to listen anymore. So the hook is really important and will massively help with retention if you get it right. Both podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all these other audio platforms, and YouTube give you information on audience retention, and they'll give you some lovely looking graphs to show it as well. So hosts will look at these graphs, not really understand what they're being shown and why it's showing it to them, and they won't know what to do with that information. So understanding the relationship between your hook and the retention of the listeners is so important, because that is just the first little hurdle, but getting people through that hurdle is a massive thing that you need to be able to do. So if you are looking at your podcast curves and they are flatlining very quickly, then the hook is the first thing you need to look at. And if you are losing people within the first couple of minutes, it does not matter how good the other 45 minutes are, they're not going to hear it. So let's go into what a good hook is and how you can create them. So the first thing is what a hook actually promises. So a hook should not just be an interesting open line. You are actually creating kind of like a contract with the listener for that episode. If you're doing solo episodes, a hook will often be you telling people what they're going to get out of the whole thing. So you might be opening with something like, by the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly how to grow your podcast. You've then got to deliver on that. You've said you're going to do it. You've got to deliver on it. If it's an interview-based episode and it is about a particular topic, podcast growth, for example, then the hook has to relate to that as well. In interviews, invariably, you will be talking to people not just about the thing, the topic that they are there for, but also potentially about their lives, their business, all this kind of stuff, which is great. But if you are going to choose a hook that is something about a personal life story, and then the actual episode is about podcast growth, they are two contradicting things that will confuse the listener, and they will drop off when they realize, oh, it's not about this person's personal life at all, really. It's about podcast growth, and I'm not here for that. You've got to set up what people are here for and show them that that is what they are going to get. The real damage that can happen, particularly on YouTube with the algorithms and how they work, if you give a hook that then you don't deliver on in the episode and people drop off in the first minute or couple of minutes when they realize it's not about what they thought it was, that is going to be really damaging to your video and your channel. Because if you do that every time and then over a series of weeks, you have people dropping off after a couple of minutes of your videos, YouTube is going to start to learn that and it's not going to push it. So you have to be able to get the right people watching, but also get them staying, because that's what they're here for. They're interested in what you are saying. So trust in it and use your hooks wisely to show what your episodes are about. What does it look like when hooks go wrong? One of the biggest things I have seen shows do is have them as being too long. Their introduction to their video or their episode isn't just that short hook that tells people what it's about, whether it's a solo one or an interview one. It is a hook as a clip from the episode. It's then a introduction to the host and who they are and their business. It's then an introduction to the guest with another clip from the episode. And then it's an advert. And then there's some music. And then we get into the episode. We've gone several minutes without even getting into the actual content, the meat of the episode or video. So hooks have a responsibility not just to show you what it's about, but actually get people into the episode quickly. More and more over the years, as podcasting has become just as much about video as it has audio, the video platforms are having an impact on the structure of episodes because of what the video platforms demand for their algorithm and what habits people have in watching videos. They'll want to get into it quickly. They'll want to just be able to be drawn in and know that they're going to get into that video straight away. So you can't have all these long different intros. Yes, you can still have that hook that draws people in and shows them what it's all about, but just have that short hook. Do not start to structure your episodes in a way where it takes 5 minutes just to get into the episode. So a really good way to be able to solve this hook problem is to actually reverse engineer it. So you will record your episode, you'll create everything you need for it first before you then select the hook. Because by the time you've recorded it, created it, produced it, so in my case, I will listen through and edit the whole episode. And while I'm going, I will be marking out parts where I think this would make a great hook, this would make a great hook, or this bit plus this bit makes a great hook because it summarizes everything that is going to come up in the episode with intrigue. So you are able to reverse engineer the hook from the episode once you have completed it. The benefits of that is that you know that the episode is going to contain what your hook is promising because it's in there. You've got it in the edit. And therefore, you know that your audience is going to get what you promise in the hook through the whole episode. Another tactic that I've seen people use is that they know what the brief is for their whole show. They know that there's going to be a particular point where they ask a particular type of question that links directly to that brief. If that question comes up every single time and you know it elicits a strong response and it delivers on your promise, then you could have that as your hook and know that that is going to be great content, not just for your hooks, but for your social content. So you could start to think about structuring your episodes before you even start with certain questions that you know are going to deliver on the whole concept of the show and what your episodes are about. So what does a great hook actually look like? Well, you have to think about the hook in tandem with the thumbnail and the title. They all come together and they all tell a story of what the episode is going to be. But a well-delivered hook does 3 things. It promises something specific enough to be worth waiting for to get into the episode. It delivers it really clearly, and you don't often have all this kind of technical jargon and things like that at this point. Perhaps the hook has got to be something that is slightly broader and more accessible. And it does it critically before the listener or the viewer has run out of patience with it. So you've got to get it in quick with impact. So a really good test that I often use is that hook should also be able to double up as a social clip on its own, so that even when you are in a context away from the actual episode, the hook can work as a clip to showcase what your episode is going to be about. So people will go from the social platforms to your episode as well. So if you want some support with your podcast in terms of the hooks, the structures, all this kind of stuff, then this is definitely something that I can have a look at and help you with in one of my podcast audits. There's links down below in terms of what's involved and what you can get. But also in terms of the actual production of episodes, if you want support with your show, then get in touch and you can book a call from the description down below as well.